It works. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. If you guys can just take a minute and come a little closer so that I'm not calling all the way across the room. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Jenny Wright. I am the Executive Director of the North Adams Partnership. Thank you, Alice. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the backstory of this design challenge, but first I have a lot of thank yous that I want to make. Firstly, to AARP, and someone from AARP is in this very room, and there's so I want to just, I can't possibly say enough about this organization. You do not have to be retired to be a member of AARP. Their website is incredible. I have lots and lots and lots of materials on this table that they designed, produced with data that they have collected. Everything you could possibly want to know about the challenge that we are trying to figure out, you can learn about by taking some of those materials on that table. They're an incredible organization. I have a couple more years, but I can't wait to be a member. I also want to thank Morazi Associates for stepping up to sponsor the student design category. Thank you so much. And I'm going to get into this a little bit more as soon as I do thank yous, but this is a really important category. I also want to thank the advisory committee. Can you just raise your hand if you were part of these planning meetings and received all of my emails, went to meetings at the library? There's some advisory committee. There's Barb. You can put your hand all the way up. This group of folks started all of this by inviting me to a meeting that they had at the public library to talk about housing. And from there, we started to meet regularly to talk about, how this might play out. So I really appreciate their guidance and advice and knowledge in helping to guide this process. Finally, I want to thank the judging panel. And judges, I believe, most or all of the judges are in this room. If you're Andy Schlatter, can you raise your hand? Where's Andy? There he is. Thank you, Andy. David Wall. David Wall in the house? We don't have David. Brian, I don't know Brian's here. Brian Missick, thank you so much. There's Brian. Mila Frederick from Greylock Federal Credit Union. Mila's here somewhere. Julie Riley over here, who is also part of the advisory group. And Brett Roberts from Berkshire Regional Planning Commission was also on the judging panel. This was such an incredible group of people to have thinking about this challenge. We have people from finance, from planning, from general contracting, members of the community. There was such a broad group of people really coming at this from different angles, which I really appreciated. And finally, I want to thank the City of North Adams and the Community Development Office specifically for making sure that the design criteria aligned with the local ordinances and that everything would work out once somebody would start to take these plans to the permit office. So I really appreciate their guidance through all this. So just for those of you who don't know, and I think probably everybody in the room knows what an ADU is at this point, but I just want to explain what they are. ADU is an accessory dwelling unit, which as of August of this year, folks who live on a single family lot may build by right an accessory dwelling unit on their property without taking it to the planning board. So this is by right. This whole process started for me, again, with this meeting that we had at the library from a bunch of local folks who got together at the library to talk about housing challenges. And every person in the room, and there were probably about 20 people in the room, they all had the following things in common. They owned their own homes. Their kids were grown and out of the house, so they had way more house than they needed. Many of them were living alone. And the cost to maintain these structures is becoming untenable. You have a 4-bedroom house. If you're one person, you're taking care of all 4 bedrooms, you're climbing up on ladders to clean out your gutters, you're shoveling the snow. It's a lot to maintain a house, particularly when most of the houses in North Adams were built around the turn of the century, the last century. So all of these folks were interested in downsizing and got together to talk about what options might be out there. And shortly after that meeting, one of the folks in that group sent me an email and said, hey, AARP has some grant programs that I thought maybe the partnership would be interested in. And I noticed that one of them was to fund an ADU design challenge, and I thought, well, this could be really interesting. So I called on that same group of folks to help apply for this grant. We won, which was very exciting. And the advisory group was very clear that they wanted to open it up as much as possible. They wanted this to be blasted from the rooftops far and wide and not limited to any particular geographic region or age group. They wanted to get as many submissions as possible, regardless of where somebody lived in. I remember specifically we were talking about the award and deciding not to rank them in case we've got 3 submissions. We wanted everybody to win equally. And we thought in that initial meeting, we would be great if we got 5. There were 5 that we could really just really have a robust judging process. 10 seemed ambitious, so I don't even think that came up in that first meeting. I'm proud to report that we received 50 total submissions, over half of which were from students. So while I was not part of the judging panel, I sat in on their deliberations, and the conversations that were had in that meeting were so extraordinary because nobody left that meeting without learning something. The lived experience that people brought, the different backgrounds and expertise that people brought to that judging panel were so important to that deliberation process. Everybody left having learned something. Everybody left having changed their mind about something that they thought they understood. And I just thought about that process, if I could bottle it and just release it into the world right now. We need to be having more conversations and deliberations like that. But I'm so grateful to the judging panel for making this possible. And I also want to shout out to McCann Tech. Now, when we first found out about this grant program, I met with the superintendent and some faculty members from the architecture and CAD program, and I said, do you think maybe a student or 2 might be interested in this? And they said, I think we can make that happen. But I thought, it's summer, they have their lesson plans already written, this stuff is all figured out, it's really difficult to just introduce a new program into a curriculum. I got an email from Greg just after the first of the year, and he said, you know what, we've redesigned our curriculum for this term around this design challenge, and we had almost 30 submissions from McCann. So I just want to give McCann a huge round of applause, because to me, when I was just having this conversation, knowing that there's an entire generation of young people who are already thinking about the problems that we are trying to solve, and when they graduate, they're going to be ready. They're going to be ready to engage and to think critically and to be thoughtful. And I hope when you walk around the room, you're able to read the descriptions that people wrote, because the amount of thought that all the submitters put into this challenge was really heartening. But I really just wanted to give a special shout out to McCann. Okay, so now is the fun part. I would like to call up our Judge Julie, to announce the winning submissions.
Hi everyone. As Jenny said, the judges were so impressed with the quality of the submissions that we received, and it was far from an easy decision to make. But we all agreed that 3 submissions met the criteria of universal design, cost-effectiveness, sustainability, and innovation the best. So I'd like to announce those winners now. So in the overall category, congratulations to Anthony Adelman. Anthony is a New York-based architect and wasn't able to make the trip this evening. So the next winner is Kuth Ranieri Architects. So if you would come up. And finally, in the overall category, congratulations to Rare Forms for their Chestnut ADU. And then in the student category, which we are all thrilled to present, congratulations to Grace Pearl. And the next in the student category is Ruth Estier Garcia. And finally, congratulations to Riley Holland.
Thank you again, and let's just give another round of applause to all the winners. Now there's snacks over here. Please take some time to take a look at the submissions, meet the designers, and stay in downtown North Adams for dinner. All kinds of options. Scan the QR code over here if you need some dinner recommendations. But don't get back home too quickly. Grab some dinner while you're here. Thank you all so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Do you have one in mind? You're like, I want to start building this in my backyard. No, you don't have space.